A nationwide shortage of milk cartons is expected to have an effect on schools across the country. Tonight, 7 News reporter Chad Charette tells us how local schools are bracing to go without half pints and how long the shortage may last.
Jefferson County Agricultural Coordinator Jay Madison says folks can thank a factory fire for the nation's ongoing shortage of half-pint milk cartons, a container that's usually a staple of school lunches.
The small half-pint milk carton is the easiest thing to serve. It reduces the amount of labor needed in schools.
Locally, schools have yet to run out of cartons, but they're expected to in as little as 1 week's time. The schools we spoke to, Sackett's Harbor and Watertown, have a solution in mind. They've purchased larger, gallon containers of milk and will individually fill cups for students. That comes with one caveat.
My understanding is that there'll be zero impact for breakfast. However, there will be a substitution at lunch for a juice, a prepackaged juice.
Madison suggests the situation could have a significant effect on dairy farmers, since schools tend to bring in profits.
Not just here in Jefferson County, not just New York, but across the United States. There are going to be school districts that stop serving milk. This is going to impact our dairy farms.
We reached out to Senator Mark Walczyk, who stressed his office's plans to support schools and farmers as much as it can. Madison added he'd been working with the senator to determine an alternate, local method of production for milk cartons, but that could be tricky.
The challenge for them might be, can they match the price point that schools are paying off of a contract?
The shortage is expected to continue until at least early 2024. Chad Charette, 7 News.